It's no secret that Hajime no Ippo is my favorite anime. I've even tried to sample the anime in a song I was working on, which didn't go too well. But today I decided, one of those characters were Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because I think that would be pretty cool and I would want them in my deck. So here are some ideas I came up with to have Hajime no Ippo characters become Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But before we dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. First up is Ippo. Now, I didn't want to give each one of these cards their own specific name after that character, so I tried to be creative. And with Ippo's, I decided to call him Fighting Figure 8, because when he does the Dempsey roll, it's in a figure 8 style motion. And I thought, you know what, let's give him a special ability, because with the Dempsey roll, he's defending, dodging, and punching as he's dodging these punches that his opponent may be throwing. So I thought, let's give him the ability to attack and defend at the exact same time. And it's kind of not necessarily the best effect, because it's the same attack points and the same defense points. So it's kind of like one of those things where the other player wouldn't really know about this ability, and that's when it would come in handy for the person that's playing this card. And this is something that would be definitely taken advantage of in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime if this was a actual card. And which duelist would have this in their deck? None other than Yugimoto. I think Yugi would have this card because it has really good attack and really good defense, and it's a 4-star monster. And it has that special ability that I think he could kind of pull on Kaiba or someone to say, oh, you think you're going to make me lose life points, or you think it needs to be switched to a different attack position, a different defense position. Doesn't matter. He can make sure I don't lose any life points if he's destroyed or if he stays on the field. Now, Ippo is known for other punches as well, like the Gazelle Punch and his Liver Blow. And I could have made those punches part of his card, but I think if I were to make more cards, I would make those equipped cards or quick action cards that only can apply to him, because those punches are unique, but I don't think it's really what defines him, because we do see other characters in the anime do those punches, and it's not like his signature punch that he really relies on anymore as we progress through the anime. But both those punches, I think we could either add attack points or defense points in different other aspects. Maybe if it's the Gazelle Punch, it's going to add 500 attack points. And if it's the Liver Blow, for the next attack only, it adds 200 attack points, and it lowers the defense points of the monster that's attacked. So there's a lot of options what we could have done with Ippo. This is just what I did, but let me know what you guys think. The next card I created is for one of my favorite characters in the Hajime no Ippo series, and that is Miyata. Now, Miyata is known for his counters, but I don't think he's necessarily considered someone that is going to be able to take someone down with just their straight on punch. He has to counter whatever punch they're throwing, so they're kind of left open to an attack, and he can kind of hit them where it hurts. So he doesn't have as much attack points as Ippo. He only has 1600, but he definitely has 2000 defense points. And he has a special ability, which is if you have more than one monster on the field, the first monster that attacks, this card is going to be able to dodge it and be able to inflict half of its attack points to that first attacking monster. So if you have more than one monster on the field, after that first attack, Miyata's going to dodge it, and that first attacking monster is going to lose 800 attack points. So it's pretty powerful. If you have two monsters on the field that has more attack points than Miyata, or as I have called him, the counter king, you're going to be able to take him out. But he's not going to go without dealing some damage. Miyata also has some signature moves or punches. I'm kind of thinking of the Jolt, like he used in the episode where he fights Jimmy Sisbar. I think that would be a really cool punch card that we could use for as like a magic or maybe even a trap card. Maybe when this card is attacked, you can activate this trap card, and all of his defense points, it goes to his attack points. Something cool like that I think would be a cool card to partner with Miyata. The next two cards I made are kind of basic. Not because I think these characters are basic, but I just couldn't really think of effects that go really well with these cards and these characters. And for these two characters, it's Aoki and Kimura. And Aoki is going to be going by the name of Fake Out Fighter, and Kimura under the name Persistent Fighter. For Aoki, the fake out fighter, he relies on his bag of tricks, the frog punch, which is just a crazy punch that's not really part of boxing, just something he made up himself. And Kimura does have 1 or 2 punches he's kind of developed on his own, but none of these guys have really made a strong headway in their career. Kimura has the most between the two because he's fought a title match against Mishiba, and so that's why I gave him a higher attack and higher defense. But each one of these, I think we could create some special magic or trap cards. Kimura has the Dragonfish Blow Punch that he used against Mishiba, and Aoki really just has the Frog Punch and Bag of Tricks, which Frog Punch, that might be something where we double his attack, but he's destroyed after this next attack. And if we were to create a trap card called Bag of Tricks for Aoki, I feel like this would be a card kind of similar to Graceful Dice or Skull Dice, where it's going to make the next attack either land or miss, or if it does land, it only deals like half of the damage, something like that. Because it doesn't always work, and Aoki just has like crazy weird things he does when he's boxing, especially in seasons 2 and 3 of the anime. Aoki does some crazy stuff in the ring that we don't ever hear about or see about in the first season. For Kimura, he again, just like, even though he's one of my favorite characters because he got defeated but he still got back up, he just doesn't always have like a signature move or style that he can rely on. So it's tough to say what even Dragonfish Blow would be if it was a card that we could attach to him. So if you have ideas though, let me know. Speaking of Mishiba, the next card I made was for him, and I called it Hitman Fighter. For this card, I decided every time it destroys a monster, it gains 100 attack points, but it loses 200 defense points. And this was done on purpose to try and reflect his fighting style, because over time, he's going to get worn out in the ring, and as soon as you can hit his jaw, he's kind of easy to get taken out. In fact, that was Kimura's whole strategy when he was trying to fight Mishiba. Get him to lower his guard, tire him out, and punch him in the jaw to knock him out. And that's also what Ippo eventually did too. Hitting him in the jaw helped him seal his victory against him and become Rookie of the Year. So I think having him gain attack points with more monsters he destroys is great, and then also losing defense points the stronger he gets is an accurate reflection of his boxing style and kind of just how he is as a boxer. Now the next card is probably going to be almost everyone's favorite card, because Takamura is probably one of the most favorite characters in the entire anime apart from Ippo himself. But for Takamura, he's just a powerful boxer. I try to think like, does he have a special move? And he really doesn't. He's just a strong, natural fighter. And that's the name of his card, is the Natural Fighter. He is strong, he's got great defense. He does have some attributes in the anime that we can maybe use for like a trap card or for a magic card, like when he kills the bear, or when he's going on an extreme diet, or when he trains all day. These could all be cards that either lure someone into a trap or boost Takamura's attack or defense points. But I couldn't think of a way to make it seem fair, because Takamura is just a powerful fighter, but I think he could end up being kind of like the Dark Magician, where he doesn't have an ability, but he has multiple trap and magic cards that will work with him. But I just couldn't think of what those were. So if you have some good ideas for them, please let me know in the comments below. Getting into some more of the side characters of the Hajime and Ippo anime, the next one that I have that I had a fun time thinking about was Volg. And Volg, also known as the White Fang in the anime, lends his name perfectly to the card as the White Wolf. The White Wolf, this card is going to be able to let you attack twice, once per game. I thought this was going to be a little bit of an overkill if I let him attack twice every turn, but he already has pretty high attack power, so being able to attack twice, once per game, I think is fine. And in the anime, Volg has decent stamina, but he can't go the distance, and that's how Ippo beats him, by having better stamina. So I think having him being able to attack twice, which is what the White Fang boxing move does, it lets you attack from the top and from the bottom at the exact same time. I think it reflects his punching style the best, and reflects how he was in anime as well. And the art for this card, I've got to say, goes pretty hard. This is one of the few characters I was able to find some really good fan animation of, and so the card looks really good. all the other cards, the animation from that is pretty much just what I could find on Google and upload into the Yu-Gi-Oh card generator. So for his card, I think it works pretty well. It looks like a legit Yu-Gi-Oh card in my opinion. Another card that just looks fire and is also strong is Eiji Date, and I named him the champion. And I named him the champion because we don't see him lose in the first season of Hajime Ippo, and he's technically the champion of Japan. Like, it doesn't seem like he's ever lost a fight to anyone that is a Japanese fighter. He's only lost in the world arena. So I think the champion is a pretty accurate description for a name for him. But I didn't give him as much attack power as Takamura, but I did give him more defense because he does a really good job in his fight against Ippo, defending and staying in the game. Now, he doesn't have any effects, which I think is fair because he's just a good fighter overall in the anime. But he does have some signature punches, like the corkscrew and being able to swivel his head, so I think those would be really good trap cards or magic enhancement cards for him. With his head swivel, maybe being able to dodge attacks for like the next 2 turns, or for the corkscrew, being able to cut the opponent's attack points in half with the next punch, but also maybe losing attack points or defense points in the process. And this last card is of course for Takeshi Sendo, the Tiger of Naniwa. And this card, I made it to where he doesn't really have any effects. He has more attack power than Ippo, but he has the same defense power. And I made it specifically this way because in the fight for the championship title, Ippo isn't able to drive Sendo back. And even coach of Kamigawa Gym says that was the only flaw in their strategy. They weren't able to find a way to drive Sendo back. But in the end, Ippo of course wins the fight. And I think that is going to be able to be reflected through maybe some different magic cards we could pair up with Ippo. But Sendo is not out yet, because while he does have a higher attack power, he does have the ability to equip different magic cards that I think we could cook up. For example, for the Smash, I think one of the cool magic cards we could do is when this card destroys a monster, the opponent has to discard a card from their hand. Simple but effective, because a Smash is supposed to be so powerful that it's supposed to knock you silly. And I think that's a good way to have that magic card be equipped to Sendo. He also does a lot of lower body training in the anime to prepare for his fight with Ippo. So we maybe could do something where it lowers his attack points by 200, but it increases his defense points by 300 if we attach ankle weights or something to it. So that's it for all the monsters I made. I had some really good ideas for some magic and trap cards that I just couldn't find some good images for, so I just didn't end up making them. But the ones that I did think were really good was I had a card called Training Camp. And this card was going to lower all fighting type monsters on the field, their attack points by 300, and increase their defense points by 500 for 3 turns. On turn 4, their attack points were going to boost up by 600 points. And on turn 5, all their stats were going to return to normal. And this is, I think, was a really cool way to illustrate how summer camp worked in the anime. They would go to their summer training camp and they would be so tired afterwards, but probably be able to defend themselves pretty well. And then after 3 months, all that muscle and all that hard work from the camp would have been built up and they would be at their peak performance for really important matches. So I thought that was a really cool way to kind of incorporate how they did that in the show into the Duel Monsters game. There are other ways we could have incorporated lots of other magic or trap cards from the anime into this as well. For example, like championship belt, raising attack or defense points, multiple championship belts that could only be paired to Takamura. We could have had a card for like dieting or fight preparation where we would transfer attack and defense points from a monster to an opponent's life points. We could have had trainers that had kin or any of the trainers from Kamigawa Gym that would allow them to, allow them to have better attack points or better defense points, or be able to see the next card that your opponent drew. You could have had one for the corrupt manager that we see in season 2 that manages Ernie Crocodile when he fights Miyata. And that card could have done something like being able to see all the cards in your opponent's hand. there's lots of other things we could do because Hajime no Ippo has tons of characters. And that's, I think, one of the great things about that anime is that there's tons of characters in it, but they don't really step outside of bounds, but they're there for 1 or 3 episodes and they still make a really good impression on you. There's tons of fighters that Ippo and Takamura have fought throughout the entire series that I kind of wanted to make cards for, but they're just not on the screen long enough, so it was tough for me to think what's going to be something that's defining this character. Of course, if I had more time, I probably could have thought of some really cool ideas for all the characters and all the boxers. But these are the ones that stood out to me the most, and that's why I chose these characters. But what do you think? Do you like my ideas of trying to turn Hajime no Ippo characters into Duel Monsters? And if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if you are a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! At any point in time, would you want to have these cards in your deck? I could see some of these cards in any of our classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters decks, from Yu-Gi-Oh! Having Ippo to Joey having Aoki and Kaiba having Dante. But what do you guys think? Did you like these cards, and do you want to see more of them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.